breaking news and trending talk with Mike and McCarty. Mornings on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
.101.7 FM, 710 KEEL, Mike and McCarty. This sounds different over here.
Does it?
Something's different.
I don't know.
I don't know. I'm trying to see. I don't know. Something's
Your
different.
Headphones are slower, perhaps? I'm not sure.
I don't know. Did I don't even know. I was, well, first of all, I was out of town, so I didn't tune in anything.
I understand.
I didn't.
What we're going to be talking about throughout the morning today is the school board. Caddo School Board had an executive board meeting that started at 4:30 yesterday. My nap went till about 7:15. So when I woke up, I had some texts going, "Ooh, did you see? So I went and tuned in, and it was still going on. 7:30, the meeting was still going on, 3 hours deep.
Gosh.
And they had people, getting up and speaking and
I'm
talking.
sure it was all accolades and praise for the selection.
I didn't hear any of that.
Yeah.
I didn't hear any of that, actually. There was some shouting. Police officers had to walk up to the stand, to the podium, where one speaker was berating a school board member. And the rules say you can't call out board members by name. I understand that. That's their rules. You can't address us by name and call us things and trash us. And when one did, literally Barry Rochelle was the one on the other end, and Barry stood up and started yelling back. Like, I'm not going to let you do that. You're not going to do that in this meeting. Blah. I mean, it got nasty. But the folks that got up, they had a point to an extent. Like, you set out the process. Here was going to be your process. You're going to hire a firm to bring you the top contenders. Then you're going to interview the top contenders in public, where the public can see them. And we'll be able to, vet them, send you questions. And you have subverted that process. That's the wrong word, but you're not following the process. They were very upset. It got very
Who's
heated.
They?
A large crowd. There was people from all walks of life that got up. Predominantly the black community. They got up very upset with, why are we not at least interviewing some of the other contenders? Let's at least hear from them. We might be with you. We might want Keith Burton. That might be who we want.
Did they say that?
Some of them did, absolutely. But then they said, let's at least hear from the best contenders. Or did we flush $70,000 away hiring a private firm when you all obviously want Keith Burton from jump? I mean, that's the thing. And I got to respect Jessica Yates, the board president. She sat through it. They gave them each their time. They set a clock and let them go. It just went on and on with the same stuff.
So at the conclusion, was there any resolution at all? No,
took no action on expanding the interviews. There was an inkling. Dr. Vincent wants them to try to have another meeting where they agree to interview more candidates, but nobody has moved in that direction. Keith Burton is set to be interviewed, we know, on the 11th. What is that, 1 week from today? And they could vote after that interview to hire him. I mean, they obviously are going to have contract negotiations, but they could say, pending contract negotiations, we agree to offer him the job. It just got to where a lot of people made accusations about, it was the fix-in. Was this a done deal anyway? So why'd we waste the money hiring the firm?
Well, Christine Tharp told us last week that that was not pre-planned.
Well, that's one board member. They claim, there are others who claim, I don't know that I believe that. They say, I don't know that I believe that. I'm not sure I buy that. And they have their own reasons. I don't understand it, but I know that it last night was not pretty, and I don't anticipate it's going to get pretty. They're saying they're going to be back at the next meeting. I hope they don't interrupt the Burton interview, which is going to be out in the public, and let's let this man have his day before the board and let them question him. because we all know Keith Burton, and we know he's very capable of doing the job. Were there other contenders that could have done just as well? We don't know. We probably will never know. But there are many board members, many education leaders who say he's definitely was far and above the best qualified on the list of the 6 names that were submitted.
Right.
Others will disagree with me and say, no, they had better qualifications. They had better education. They were doctors. He doesn't have a doctorate. Does that matter? Does that make a difference? I don't know. It just wasn't pretty, and I was worried about this from jump when I told you that from the beginning. I thought this community is not going to be happy with this, regardless of Keith's qualifications. And it's getting ugly, and I didn't like seeing it, that's for sure.
So is it going to come down to one qualification, the color of your skin? Is that the entire argument?
The argument really wasn't that, and it was interesting. The argument was you didn't follow your own process. You didn't do what you told us you were going to do. You're going to interview the top candidates, vet them,
but I would be willing to venture if that one candidate would have been the woman from New Orleans or any of the others, we wouldn't be having this issue.
I don't know. From some of them, it sounded like we want to see the best. Give us the best 3. Now they're calling on an interview of all 6. We don't want to fly 5 other people in, put them in a hotel now, but they have said we could do it Zoom. We could do Zoom interviews, but that's tough for the public to watch and engage. So I'm not sure what we do from here. I really don't know what we do from here. I think they're going to move forward with interviewing Keith Burton and trying to make a deal with him. He's going to remain quiet, as he has told me, until after the interviews are done. So we shall see how it goes. I'm
disappointing.
Not sure.
Very, very disappointing.
Mm-hmm. I need to clean off today. Do we have a shower in the building?
No.
I need to get another shower.
It's your own fault.
It is my own fault.
It's your own fault.
And I feel bad.
It's not like you didn't know what you were getting into.
I feel really dirty today.
We'll find out coming up right after the break. Tim Fletcher Sports next, 1017 FM, 710keel.com.
Now more breaking news and trending talk with Mike and McCarty on 1017 FM and 710 KEEL.
On 1017 FM, 710 KEEL. Mike and McCarty had a long weekend. Mm-hmm. Now, we got back, what is today? Wednesday.
Wednesday, yeah.
We got back late Monday.
Okay.
But I had taken Tuesday off.
Because you knew it was going to be late night.
I didn't know what time we were going to get home. Mm-hmm. I was thinking a 9-hour drive. It was an 11-hour day.
Atlanta's a long way away.
In the car. And we were an hour and a half east of Atlanta.
Oh, God.
Now, we were in a lake house, Aaron.
Beautiful.
Oh, my gosh. Lake Oconee, I think is what it was.
Oh, very cool. My brother's in Alpharetta, so that's a pretty part of the country.
It's beautiful.
It really is.
That part of the country is beautiful. Mm-hmm. It's not mountainous per se, but it's very rolling, very hilly.
Yeah.
In Louisiana, we go, look at them mountains. I mean, but
let's go hiking.
It was beautiful country. Now,
I'm glad you're back.
The LSU game.
I gotta get a shower first this morning.
I know, but
I don't even want to talk about it. I'm upset. I'm still upset.
Okay,
I wasted a lot of sausage balls.
Well, I'm at my brother-in-law's cabin who lives in Atlanta. Mm-hmm. Okay. He lives in Dunwoody. So obviously he's a Braves fan.
Yeah.
Well, the Braves were playing at the same time LSU was playing.
Oh, no.
Mm-hmm.
So is he dead? Did you kill him?
What am I going to say? What am I going to say? No, we turned on the game. But at every break, we're flipping.
Switch to the Braves?
Flipping to the Braves.
Oh, man.
And I'm just...
you're going to miss a big play.
I'm like, you know what? I'm going to turn on my phone. I'm going to watch. I have the ESPN Plus app.
Ooh. Ooh-wee.
I'm like, okay, I'll turn this. It turned out well. We didn't miss anything, but it was funny.
Game didn't turn out well. You're lying.
No. That didn't turn out. I'd have rather stuck with the Braves game.
I have to. I
don't know why women watch this crap. I really don't.
Last night was the big finale of The Bachelorette. I've been watching these stupid shows.
Ruben, do you watch The Bachelorette?
I promise you the answer is no.
Never, not once.
Thank you.
Does your wife watch them? No.
I don't think so, no.
I have to stop. I have got to stop. I feel so dirty and slimy today.
I would think so.
From watching that tribble. That's not even a word, but I'm going to make it a word.
The trouble with tribbles.
It is.
Yeah.
I think it is if you're a Star Trek fan.
You don't know the name. The names don't matter to you. Jen was the Bachelorette. Devin was the love of her life.
Yeah, the love of your life.
They met 6 weeks ago.
You're humping in the hot tub one night with one guy, and then you're in the food pantry with another guy the next night. Yeah, this is true love.
He proposes to her, okay?
Oh, good God.
She proposed to him, and then he proposed to her, too. And they were madly in love.
Yeah. Are they still together?
No.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Are any of those, if you go back to the entire history of these
2, maybe.
Bachelor shows and Bachelorette
maybe
crap,
2.
steaming, hairy crap that's on television.
Why am I so invested in this nonsense?
I have no idea. You're much more intelligent than that.
I know. And I get hooked on it. And then once you watch a few episodes, you then are invested to watch all the way to the end. And you know it's going to be the most dramatic finish ever. They're all the most dramatic. Last night was. She comes out crying. They don't even show the proposal. And she's out crying, talking trash about him. How he, the night after they got engaged, he ghosted her and he made a mistake and I shouldn't have proposed and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, why am I watching this crap?
Yeah,
I pledge today, you can mark my words, I will never watch that show again.
Okay.
There is not enough green water in Shreveport to clean the oiliness off of me this morning.
I will just stick with my Jerry Springer reruns on YouTube. Thank you very much. 101.7 FM 710 KEEL.
Back with more of Mike and McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Why does every other major university open their college football season with puff games?
Yeah. Western Kentucky.
Yeah. North Libertarian Wesleyan University takes on Alabama.
I am pushing from this point forward, after our schedules are done, because, Centenary opens their season this weekend. Big Centenary football's back.
Oh, fun.
For years down the road, I want LSU to open the season with Centenary. It would be good for Centenary.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
It would be, a cupcake for LSU. I mean, Alabama played Western Kentucky for crying out loud.
I know. Georgia. Who'd Georgia play?
Now, Georgia had a game. Georgia played Clemson.
Okay.
That was
good for Georgia.
But
they won their game.
Oh, yeah. But everybody else in the SEC,
and this
Ole
goes
Miss
back
had a
before
cupcake.
Brian Kelly. We haven't won our opener since Joe Burrow was quarterback, and we won the national championship 5 years ago.
5th straight opening loss. So
thank you for this.
I do like Garrett Nussmeier. He looked good.
Garrett, yeah.
We talked about this yesterday.
Our much vaulted O-line didn't look like our run game never just really took off until they finally brought in. I'm blank. My near Eve is not kicking in.
We also need discipline. You cannot be making those stupid mistakes.
Thank you.
You just can't.
The number of penalties and penalty yards goes back to discipline, which goes back to the coach having control of the team.
And it was not the referees, so don't start with me on that. The
referees sucked.
That's baloney.
The referees hate the SEC and or LSU.
Oh, zip it up.
The referees cost us the game.
Zip it up. LSU cost us the game.
Yeah.
Oh, sad.
Next year, I want us to open with Barb's Barber College.
I like that. Nickel State this weekend, we got our cupcakes, so we should smoke them. We better.
Christine Tharp, Caddo Parish School Board member, going to join us coming up right after the break. 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL, and on the free KEEL app.
Get back to the show with Mike and McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
On the Jack Spring Electric Newsmaker Hotline, Caddo Parish School Board member Christine Tharp joining us this morning. Christine, I was out of town all weekend until yesterday. Sounds like I missed some fireworks.
Yeah, you did. And I was going to ask Erin, was there more drama at the Caddo Parish School Board meeting or on the Bachelorette?
You won. The school board won. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. But I'm glad I watched the school board meeting. The Bachelorette, I wish I could take those 2 hours back in my life. But y'all went 3 hours better, maybe closer to 4. I'm not sure how long it ended up being. Dozens and dozens of people spoke, talking a lot about the process for hiring a superintendent. Explain that. What was the process supposed to be, and have you deviated from it?
Okay. The process has not been deviated from. And let me start by saying, too, that, we have an attorney that guides us, that makes more than anybody in Caddo Parish School Board. We pay him very well. So if anything were to go awry, he would put us back in our place very quickly. But the process was the board voted to hire a search firm. That was done. The search firm put out a national search. And then they met with the community. They gathered information from community, anybody that wanted to attend the meetings, on what they were looking for in a superintendent. All of those attributes were written down, combined. They were given to the board. They were used in the selection of the finalists for the superintendent. That was the community input. Now, these meetings are held in a community, in a public forum. Mm-hmm. But so that was done. The search firm narrowed it down to 6 candidates. 5 of those candidates were not local. 1 was local. We did not know who the 6 candidates were prior. Now, this search firm has conducted the past 2 superintendent searches where they hired Dr. Dawkins and Dr. Gorey. So this is the 3rd time we have used them.
Did you had you promised that you would interview 3, 2, 4? Was there any?
No, there was never a promise to that. We listened to the taped interviews or taped speeches that each candidate made. We received their resumes. We received their letters of recommendation. So we had all that information. There was nothing saying we would take the top 3, the top 2, nothing. And so after that was done and we listened, the board ranked our top, who we wanted to list as our top candidate.
And y'all did that ranking privately. You didn't do that. Well, let me see what you're putting. Everybody graded them on their own.
Right. We ranked them privately. 8 school board members ranked Keith Burton as their top choice. 8 out of 12.
You said you didn't know who the candidates were. At what point did you know the final 6 candidates?
Whenever that was released to the public. I think it was Monday night before the meeting, Monday sometime. I'd have to go back in my email and look. Nothing was given to us prior. Nothing.
Did you know any local candidates who were not included in that? Do you know any of them now?
I don't. I don't know any of them. I went through this process and I committed to the process. Just because now people don't like the outcome of a process doesn't mean you can claim the process was flawed now because you don't like the outcome. That's not the way this works. The school board members are elected by our constituents. And one of our jobs, we don't have many, despite what people think. One of our jobs is to hire a superintendent. That is our job. Now, the people who were there last night, that was a very small percent of the people that make up this parish. Because I tell you, the information I get from other people and people that live around this city district, in my district, teachers, parents are thrilled with Keith Burton. Mm-hmm. So that is just that those people last night are a very, very small percentage of people.
Let me ask you this. Dr. Vinson has told members of the media, there have been a couple of others, that we could go back and have another meeting and ask for others to be interviewed. Do you think there's any chance that's going to happen?
I really have no idea. The board did not take any action last night. None. And we interviewed Keith Burton on September 11th.
And there's no move to have a special meeting to take another look at this?
No, I've not received any word of a special meeting, anything like that. Nothing that I've heard of.
So what could happen on September 11th? You interview Keith Burton. After the end of that interview, which is going to be done in public, could there be a motion made to begin contract negotiations with Keith Burton at that September 11th meeting? Could that happen?
Yes, it could.
Do you anticipate that will happen?
I don't know. We'll have to go through the interview and see.
If he meets the criteria for you in that interview, you're the one who made the motion to interview only him. Would you be inclined to make a motion to move forward with contract negotiations with him?
Yes. If Keith Burton, if we interview him and he, is clearly what we thought he is, then yes, I would be willing to make that motion.
To say that the people that showed up at the meeting yesterday was a small group of people, you're getting in your email and your communications, you're getting when you say a large number of people from what communities that do support Keith Burton and the hiring of Keith Burton. Can you balance it out for us?
Well, I'm just like I said, the emails I get, I mean, are you asking where they're from? Or, I mean, they're local people, they're teachers and parents, and retired teachers. That's who I'm getting communication from in support of him.
Is this a black-white issue? This is what it's going to come down to in my...
I really don't think so. I honestly don't. I hope not. It is not for me. Not for me. I never... That is so far from who I am and what I want to be. That couldn't be further from anything I feel. So for me, it definitely is not.
But you can't ponder on what ifs. But I can't help but believe if any of the other 6 candidates were selected in this manner, we wouldn't be going through this problem.
I can't speak to that because we are where we are. And like I said, he came out clearly in the lead. 8 board members agreed with having him as our superintendent. I mean, as the lead candidate. He scored the highest. I mean, I don't know how else to put it. I mean,
let me ask you this with regard to that. For you, what sets Keith Burton apart? If you had to pinpoint 1 or 2 things, what puts him at the top of your list?
The top of my list is his experience in Caddo Parish. He was a teacher, a principal. I know how he was as a principal. I know how highly regarded he was. He's done the work. He's been the chief academic officer. He had 13 letters of recommendation from all walks of life in our community. I mean,
well, Christine,
people in our community.
What do you say to those who have reached out to us to say, well, yeah, he's had experience, but our schools are failing. The state is trying to take over schools, and he's been there this whole time. He's part of the problem. What do you say to those people?
Well, I say that he wasn't in the leader at that time. I think he has a plan that he's going to put in place. That's what I believe. I believe he is the best choice that we have out of those candidates presented.
What time is the meeting on the 11th, and will the public be able to speak during that meeting, or is this just an interview of Keith Burton?
This is the interview. It's held in the public. The public is invited. I believe it's at 4:30.
Okay.
I don't have that information in front of me, but I think it's. But no, I'm sorry. No, it is not, Aaron. The interview started at 8:30 a.m. that day. It's an all day. We blocked out the whole day for this. Yeah.
Okay. So will the public get a chance to question him at all?
And I'm not sure because we're interviewing him, and we were told that it's very strict as far as HR, what questions could be asked. We have to follow HR guidelines. So that's what we were told.
I wouldn't think at this point in the process the public would be allowed to speak or ask him questions.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They're not. They don't have any input in this election.
Right. This is a board decision. That's what we're elected to do, is to hire a superintendent. The superintendent is not hired by the public.
I would think if the public had input, they should reach out to their school board members before this interview and voice those opinions at that time.
That is the way, this works. That's why we're elected.
Exactly. You're representing your constituents.
Is any part of this like a reception with Keith Burton? I mean, I know in the past we've done receptions with the candidates and that kind of thing.
I haven't been told of any reception. I don't know if there anything like that. All I know is the interviews start 8:30 on September 11th.
Christine Tharp, Caddo School Board member. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thanks, Christine. Lieutenant Governor Billy Nunn guests are going to be joining us coming up just after the news, top of the hour. Mike and McCarty, 101.7 FM, 710keel.com.
More breaking news and trending talk with Mike and McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
All right, I'm going back to what we talked about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
You watching The Bachelorette.
Do we have to keep telling people that? I'm really sorry.
I bring this up because we've had several people. My daughter said, "Dad, have you seen this show about Beckham?"
Oh, I love that. The documentary,
soccer player.
Mm-hmm.
Bend it, which I still don't understand what that means. Bend it like Beckham.
Oh, soccer players.
Curve the ball?
Yeah.
That's what Dina asked me. I said, I think it may be the shot, the way the shot can, like a curveball.
He could shoot a 90-degree angle shot. I mean, he could, unbelievable.
It was phenomenal. Well, I ended up watching the first episode.
Good.
Yeah, she's gorgeous. Oh, my gosh.
He's kind of good yourself, I'm just telling you.
I'm as hetero as they come, and I was going, my gosh, that's a handsome man.
He's pretty.
Yeah.
He's pretty. Short hair, long hair, doesn't matter. Bun, I'm good. Yeah.
If she stops with the plastic surgery now, she'll be okay.
Yeah,
Stop.
Mm-hmm, I know.
And my daughter said, "Yeah, if you watch toward the end, they're apparently a really good couple.
Been together a long time.
That's awesome.
Have the kids are adorable too. I mean, if you just
I've only got the first episode.
Children are precious. I mean, just precious. But he's a superstar in the world.
Oh my gosh!
In the world of football, he's it.
And somebody said they made the comment at that time the musicians were the rock stars, literally.
Mm-hmm.
And he changed that.
He did.
He's the one that changed the rock stars, footballers.
He absolutely did.
I thought that was interesting.
Mega superstar. Of course, in England, he was he couldn't go anywhere.
Right.
He could not go outside.
Right.
He gets, attacked.
Billy Nungesser going to be joining us coming up after the news. Mike and McCarty, 1017 FM, 710keel.com. .117 FM 710 Keel. Mike and McCarty on the Jack Spring Electric Newsmaker Hotline. The man with the greatest job in the world, Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser, joining us. Lieutenant Governor, good morning to you.
Good morning, my friend. How are you?
We are doing very well. You're in Frisco, Texas this morning, but I can't believe Hurricane Katrina was, 19 years ago. Almost 20 years ago. That's hard to believe. How has the state bounced back in 2024?
Well, I think it's come back pretty good. It's taken a while, but we're never more than one storm away from revisiting those horrible times. I know much of the state is still recovering from the last storm, but I tell you, I still don't sleep when a hurricane gets in the Gulf, no matter how weak it is or where it's going. Those memories are still fresh of riding out that storm in South Plaquemines Parish and the rescue efforts and all that followed. But you're right, it's hard to believe it's 19 years ago and what the South Louisiana went through. But
the levees and dikes have been redone, haven't they? Even stronger?
They are, but that the wall around New Orleans is sinking. Sea rise is rising. And if we don't put dredges out there and build land to combat that. Here, if we don't have another major storm, eventually the FEMA is going to come in and run new models and say, hey, that wall needs to be raised 3 feet. That's another story is you've got to keep that land out there, building it, because as the sea rise rises, that 100-year protection will go away. And worse than Katrina is trying to get the money to keep that wall high enough to keep that 100-year protection. So we got to keep our eyes and make sure we're continuing to build that coast back up to be ready for that next storm.
You were in town in Shreveport last week for the Travel Summit meeting. You again went over some of the tourism numbers. We are beginning to see numbers that are approaching the pre-pandemic level, if not even better now. Are we?
Yeah, I tell you, we have bounced back. They expected it to take many more years to get back to pre-COVID numbers, and we are way ahead of most other states. And that's, hat goes off to all the great partners around the state would partner with us with the Rose Parade and all the festivals around the country that we sponsor. Next, in a couple of weeks, we'll be at the London Jazz Fest. All these music events promoting the Year of Music have been incredible for Louisiana. And I think, in 2023, we had a little over 43 million visitors. They spent a little over $18 billion. And so we're way ahead of where we thought we could be. But I'll go out on a limb and say, and if we don't break a new record this year, surely next year we'll be back to setting a record like we did 5 years before COVID. We had a record year all the way up to 2019, where over 50 million people visited Louisiana. So we're well on our way. Our international visitation is up over 16%. We just went to the Congrès in Canada, which is our largest international partner. And now we've gotten a federal grant to go to Spain, Italy, and I'll be going to India in about a month. Another market that we opened doors to Louisiana, to the world, thanks to that international grant. So the future is bright for tourism, and our partners around the state have done an incredible job at doing things in their community to attract visitors and then treat them like family when they're there, so they keep coming back for more.
You say international tourism is up 16%. We, sitting here in Shreveport, Bossier, Northwest Louisiana, we hear that, and that sounds great, but don't those folks want to go to New Orleans? Is that where they really want to go, and maybe we'll get some residuals?
Well, international visitors want to do more than just see the big cities. They want to see how Americans live. So they want to get off the beaten path. And the reason we go to these places and meet with the travel writers and the travel agents is most of those international visitors still use a travel agent because they want to get the most bang for their buck when they're here. So when we can put itineraries together to see all of Louisiana, come here.
Uh-oh.
Not sure what that is.
You there?
Well, we lost the lieutenant governor.
Yeah, I think we lost him. Hang
Oh,
on.
man.
I've never heard that before.
That's weird. Is that an EAS test of something?
I think he's back.
We
You
got
back?
you back. We back. We back.
Okay. So they want to see more than just New Orleans. You get a map of other places where you send them, and we're part of that.
Well, and we promote Mardi Gras all over Louisiana, family-friendly, safe, affordable Mardi Gras, all the fairs and festivals. And we get international visitors that'll fly into Dallas, rent a car or take a bus, and they'll stop in North Louisiana. Same thing in Houston. Those international flights in there travel across South Louisiana. So we make sure we give them destinations across all of Louisiana.
When you go to India, explain kind of what you do there. Who do you meet with? What is your mission?
Well, we have events where all the travel agents and travel writers come. We cook some Louisiana-style food. We bring some music. We show videos. Our partners meet individually with those tour coordinators to get them excited about putting itineraries together to come to Louisiana. And we go to several different places in that country to meet with those groups. And like in Spain and Italy, were hosted by the ambassador at their residence. So people came. We got a lot of press coverage and just get people excited about coming. It has a better effect. It's a lot of work, but to go on these tourism trips, we have a greater impact than just running a commercial locally or sending information. When they can visit with us and see how passionate Louisiana people are about where they live, it gets them excited about booking trips here. And it's worked, and it continues to get us great response from these trips. And things like that and the Rose Parade and all these trips, we'll be highlighting a year of food next year. And we'll be kicking that off later this year, where all the screens in New York City will be talking about Louisiana gumbo on National Gumbo Day, which is October 11th, I believe, and 12th. We'll be starting to kick off the year of food and promoting all the great food that comes out of Louisiana at these food shows all over the country. We've done the music shows this year. We're wrapping that up later this year with the Jazz Fest in London. We just got back from Washington, a great festival up there. So we go where those people that enjoy music to bring them here. We'll do the same thing next year with the Year of Food.
You mentioned earlier, and I can't help but chuckle, when I think of jazz, I don't think of London. Do we bring some good Louisiana jazz to them?
Oh, listen, that's like taking candy from a baby. It's a great opportunity for us to highlight the great music. I was at the CMA Fest in Nashville. We got to spend some time with Lainey Wilson at her new restaurant where she serves Louisiana seafood, I'll say, and to sponsor and have our booth there. All those people there were like excited about coming to all our fairs and festivals. We talked about all of them. And just a great opportunity to reach out to people that love music and share our music with them. So we're fortunate to have so many tools in our toolbox with all the fairs and festivals and great talent and great food in Louisiana to promote our states. Most states would die to have the kind of tools in the toolbox we have to promote their state.
Louisiana Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser, look, thank you, sir. Safe travels back from Frisco.
Great. Y'all have a great day.
You too. 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL, Mike and McCarty. Coming up, Barry Rochelle with the Caddo Parish School Board going to be joining us about 7:40.
Back to the big stories of the day with Mike and McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Okay, so we got $48 million in ARP funding.
That's for the city of Shreveport.
American Rescue Plan. That's what ARP stands for.
Caddo Parish got about the same, I believe. City of Shreveport got $48 million. And I was trying to figure out, do we have a list? Do we know how we spent all that money? About half of it was spent during the Perkins administration, and about half or a little more was spent during the Arsenault administration.
So it's gone.
Well, not quite, but they have a deadline. This year, this last quarter here is when you have to spend it or you lose it. You send it back. So we have to find ways to spend it all. And I think we have. It depends on where the interest, they've got a couple of little interest earnings on it that they need to tally, but it looks like we may still have about $800,000 to spend of that ARP money. Now, the bulk of it has been spent on roads, fixing up roads, Ford Street, Knight Street, a whole bunch of projects totaling, well over $12 million, I think the total. Buying Millennium Studios, that was under the Perkins administration, $3.8 million. We used ARP money for that.
And we're leasing it out for $1 a year, is that right?
$1 a month? I'm not sure what it is. But yeah, we'll get benefit from that, though. We really will. We will see.
I understand.
I sure hope we do. A lot of it, $2 million or so on fire vehicles and equipment. Citywide sewer infrastructure, $2 million. You can see the full list, by the way, KEELnews.com. I just don't want to send any money back. I want to make sure we spend every nickel of that money. So I'm going to put...
what I just thought of?
What?
Your mom bringing home staplers.
You got a point. But we have needs.
Spend it.
We have needs.
Oh,
we do
absolutely
have.
we do.
And we've got the money, so let's use them on the needs we have. Let's fix up our parks. Let's fix air conditioning. Now, they have done heating and air conditioning at several buildings.
Speaking of, because you've got water and sewerage in the list, I've got to send William Daniel a text. And
okay.
And I see, and I only think about it when I'm like, my metal cover on my water meter is all wompy jawed.
Ah, okay. We don't like wompy jaw.
No, you can't put it back the way it was. Now, if it were just me, I'd go, okay, I'll straighten it out. I'm aware. But Aaron, I was walking the dog. Every cover on my street, all the way down the block, is wompy jawed.
Oh,
it's like they just lifted it up and dropped it. Every one of them.
That's not good.
I
That's
took
not
pictures.
good.
I took pictures.
Did you really?
I did.
Of wompy jawed meter covers?
And what if you've got an 80-year-old lady that's out working in her yard, not paying attention?
Oh.
Now she trips because she fell into the hole.
Broke her leg.
Her leg because somebody was too lazy to put the cover back on.
I tripped in mine one day. I thought I was going to have a knee problem.
That's right. You did.
Sure did. And it wasn't put back right. It was put back wompy dogged. Is that the word? Wompy dogged?
Something. Wompy jawed.
Wompy jawed, yeah.
Yeah.
So they need to do that. They really do. By the way, you were not here when the mayor was here, and they are spending about $1.4 million on Riverview Park to get the sprinkler systems back up. That spray park back up and going.
Yeah, the spray pads.
And Cedric Glover banned me from those several years ago.
I heard Mayor Arsenault gave you a full pardon.
Full pardon. I'm now allowed back in the sprinklers, so I can't wait till they get them back on.
I don't think he knew all the details of why you were banned.
Let's skip that. Look at the time. Look at the time.
Look at the time. By the way, Barry Rochelle, Caddo Parish School Board member, joining us after the local news.
He's pibbed. Woo.
1017 FM, 710keel.com.
Mike and McCarty on 1017 FM and 710 Keel.
I just heard that soundbite from your news. That was Barry Rochelle.
Yeah, he's not happy.
Wow.
He got hot and bothered yesterday. I hope he's had a chance to calm down a minute.
I've been out of town, so I missed a lot of the fireworks. School board meeting kind of erupted.
Yeah, it did.
It went long.
Boy, did it ever. Man.
This was
last night, yesterday.
Oh, yesterday.
It started at 4:30 and 7:30 p.m. I think it was just getting ready to wrap. So 3 hours plus probably. Oh, long meeting. Tons of people there to speak about the superintendent search and, not happy. They're not happy about the process, about limiting it to just Keith Burton. And tempers were flaring at one point.
We'll talk with Barry Rochelle, Caddo Parish School Board member, coming up right after the break. 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL, and on the free KEEL app.
Back to the show with Mike and McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
On the Jack Spring Electric Newsmaker Hotline with Mike and McCarty, Caddo Parish School Board member Barry Rochelle joining us. Barry, good morning.
Good morning, guys. How are y'all?
Well, we're doing well. Have we calmed down after a good night's sleep? Did we get a good night's sleep?
I slept like a baby. I got home and got to watch tennis. So it was good.
Slept like a baby, up every 2 hours screaming, right?
Yeah. No, not me. I like it. I very clear conscience. Slept like a baby.
You got into kind of a heated discussion with Craig Lee, who got up to the podium and called you out by name, calling you a hypocrite, and you stood up and you shouted back at him. Explain kind of what happened for people who don't know what went down.
Well, I'll tell you there's multiple things that happened. One, and there were quite a few people there that continued to say that we didn't follow a process, we didn't follow our timeline, we did things and changed, which just absolutely was not the truth. The fact is, we put a timeline together of everything that we were going to do, when we were going to do it, with deadlines. And the public was fully aware of all of this. And we followed our process step by step by step, and the exact timeline. And, and in that timeline, we had, 18 different meetings with different employee and organizational groups, community, faith leaders, students, economic development, PTAs, community leaders, and goes on and on. We had 18 of those. And so anyway, and so that was kind of the stage that was set, and really truly that's what everybody was saying. But this, and I don't know this Craig Lee more than I do a man on the moon, and he crossed the line last night. He really did. He crossed the line, and when people do have freedom of speech, and I think people know me well enough and know that I'm a Christian, that I'm a believer, and the Word tells me to do all that to wear the armor of God, and when you've done all you can do is to stand. And I wasn't going to let him say the things that he did and think that it's okay to do it. He called you a hypocrite because of what? Well, and I'll tell you that. That's the really strange part, is each of the board members gets an opportunity to pray. We have 12 board members. There's 12 months, and I represent District 9. It's the 9th month, so I get to open us up with prayer in the 9th month. And in my prayer, I just prayed that we would have unity. The unity I'm speaking of in my prayer is unity of spirit. That's what God's Word tells us, that we should have the fullness of all that comes with the unity of spirit. And obviously he did not receive that very well. And in his words, I guess, or in his belief, he thinks that unity means if I don't agree with him, then there is no unity. And from what I could tell, I heard from people from all over Caddo Parish, and and lots of words of encouragement of going, I certainly did the right thing, and not to have very much expectations from him. That's kind of the way that he is, and that's a shame.
Let me ask you this, Barry Rochelle, Caddo School Board member. They're calling for you guys to possibly interview other candidates, maybe calling a special meeting. Do you see that happening? Has there been any talk about that?
Hey, I'm one member of 12, and personally, I don't see it happening. We followed again the procedure we put together. We followed it line by line, and as we voted to determine, there was a scoring that we did. When we did that with the 6 that had been, we've narrowed down to 6. The Mr. Burton received twice as much or twice as many points as the next closest one. Which now, what that means is that means every school board member, or basically every school board member, voted for Mr. Burton as the number 1 or the number 2 individual. I mean, every single one of the school board members would have had to do that for him to have received 58 points to, I think, the next nearest one, and don't hold me to this one, I think it may have been 27. It may have been 28. I don't remember the exact amount of points. And you know what? When you have that much consensus on a board, which obviously it doesn't, the points may not be reflective of some of the things that have happened. But when you have that kind of consensus that every board member said that this person is my number 1 and that's
2. What sold it for me, Barry.
Yeah. I mean, it's so that made it very easy. And I'm telling you that our children, our students, our staff, our teachers, everybody that works for Caddo Parish School System deserves to have the best superintendent we can get, and deserves for us to have this person in place in the quickest manner that we can. Now, with saying the quickest that we can, I'm not saying rush, because the original timeline that was actually we put in place was faster than what we actually changed it to. We actually stretched it out a little bit longer so that we could have 18 different groups come together and put together, as some of them continue to say, what did y'all do? How did y'all come up with the type characteristics that you want? Well, we had 18 community meetings around the city, the parish, and we put all this together to pick.
Let me ask you this, Barry. Barry, if there are some that would say, maybe if you did some interviews, one of those other candidates might have stood out, might have showed you something that you would go, you know what? This person could be our next leader if you only did the interviews. How do you respond to that?
Two-edged sword. Sword's not the proper word. The two items there. One, and I have to speak for myself, is I reviewed all of the information that every candidate submitted. I also did quite a few hours of research on the 6, and from my own personal research, I already had a very good grasp, and I'd like to believe that the rest of the board did the same thing. Then once we received more information, because there was some information that we received at the exact same time as the public received during the board meeting last week. I took all of that information, and as each candidate was sharing their information and all of the responses that were there, and those questions were specifically designed from the questions that the community and the board also, they were designed so that we and the public could get the best snapshot. Now, I ranked all of them myself. I didn't need somebody else to rank them for me, but and I ranked them. Through that information alone, that was my scoring. There was nobody. I mean, this was almost like David and Goliath, in my opinion. That's mine, and I believe the board. When you see the points that were there, I believe the consensus was there also. Is there a possibility that there may have been another one? I'm going to tell you, and again, I'm one of 12 votes. I looked through all of them. None of them could have said anything more than what I read about them, that they submitted and or they said, that would have changed my mind. So
you're 100% comfortable with your decision. You stand by it, and let's move forward.
Oh yeah, and that's me. Now, granted, and I don't know how much time the public and some of those individuals had to say, and last night was exciting. I wake up every day and I am excited, and I expect the Lord to do something good in and through me every day, and that was exciting for me. I really enjoyed that. With what Mr. Lee had to say, it's and the encouraging words that I have received from so many people. People know my heart, and they expected nothing less from me than my response, than to stand up for myself. Mm-hmm. And the same people that know him expected no less from him and the way that he acted and the things that he said. So, God's word is true, and it says that you will be known by your actions. And I tell you what, I like people standing next to me, and I do believe I work with a board that is a board of believers.
Mm-hmm. All right, Barry. Look, we're up against the clock. I appreciate that, okay. And we appreciate you taking time to talk with us.
Well, thank you guys. You guys are just a great source of information, and for keeping everybody up to speed and up to date. And I really do appreciate y'all not. I just appreciate y'all just getting the facts and getting the truth, and sharing it, because we can't always get it out there on our own. And you guys are a great source.
Thank you, Barry. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Barry.
Okay. Have a blessed day, guys. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Royal Alexander, local Shreveport attorney, going to be joining us coming up just after the news, top of the hour.
A Supreme Court case tomorrow with regard to lawyers who are in the legislature. Do they get special privileges?
Mike and McCarty, 101.7 FM, 710keel.com.
Now more breaking news and trending talk with Mike and McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
On 7 FM, 710 KEEL. Mike and McCarty on the Jack Spring Electric Newsmaker Hotline. Shreveport attorney Royal Alexander joining us. Good morning, Royal.
Good morning.
This new legislation that state lawmakers who are practicing attorneys, which I would think would be the bulk of them, have the ability to postpone legal proceedings if their case interferes with legislative duties. Now, that would tend to make sense to me, but there are some saying this is going to gum up works. What do you say, sir?
There's a point to it for sure. I mean, we want to encourage people to be public servants, but there's a flip side to that too. And what we need is a balancing. I think there's a couple of constitutional problems with it. The first is that what this legislative continuance statute does is essentially tell a judge or tell a court what to do, how to manage its docket, how to manage its cases, whether to grant a continuance. Those are all what we call court discretionary kinds of decisions, and you're taking that away. The legislative branch is taking that away from the judicial branch, which is the definition of a violation of the separation of powers. And it's really a broad mandatory thing. And some people are saying it can be abused. And it's more than just, for example, when the legislature is in session. It's when the state representative is engaged in activities which include travel or any kind of activity ordered by the legislature or any legislative committee or subcommittee. Those committees meet all the time down there. Any appointment by the governor, a constitutional convention. So if somebody wanted to be unscrupulous, we'll say, they really could postpone a case for a long time. And an example would be, say, a widow who lost her husband in a terrible car accident has a wrongful death case. And she has tried to bring the case, but it gets delayed and delayed and delayed. At a certain point, really justice delayed, you could argue, is justice denied. She has a right. Our law recognizes that her lawsuit is a property interest, and yet with this extreme delay, she's being denied that property interest without due process of law. And I think that's the second problem with it.
This stems, I believe, from a Caddo Parish case. Am I wrong about that?
No, it is. The attorneys in this case are Joe Gregorio and Cole Sarton. Joe Gregorio is from Bossier and Cole is from Shreveport. And they had a case, a plaintiff case that has been delayed for, I think the accident happened in 2018, and it's still not been resolved today.
Which legislators were representing the other party?
State Senator Alan Seabaugh and State Representative Michael Mellerine.
And they invoked this delay.
They did. They have, and my understanding is that several continuances have been sought, but it's not just here. I mean, Katrina Jackson in Monroe, a state senator, has invoked it also, and I saw several state reps in South Louisiana who've done the same thing. And again, there are certain circumstances you want to encourage people to serve. At the same time, say a lady in a wrongful death case has had this thing prolonged for years, and say that's her only source of income, what she may recover from the accident, and she can't have her day in court, and that's where people think the abuse is.
And that sounds like it makes sense to me. So, Royal Alexander, what is the solution to this?
I think I don't see. Again, y'all heard me speculate before about what a court may do. I don't know what the Supreme Court's going to do. I would guess, my feeling is that they're going to not like it that the the legislature through this law is essentially telling a judge what to do. They're not going to like that. I think the Louisiana Supreme Court will say, no, that's a real separation of powers problems. Each of our branches of government has to stay in its own lane. And here the legislature is telling a judge, you're going to grant this broad continuance. And it's more than just when the legislature is in session. It's far broader than that. It's for almost travel. But if you could say that's very attenuated to say any kind of travel related to my legislative duties.
Committee hearings, anything like that.
Subcommittee hearings, exactly, Aaron.
Is Liz Murrill, the Attorney General, is she going to be defending this law before the state Supreme Court?
Yes, she is going to be part of it. I don't know if she is the lead attorney, but as the Attorney General, she has to defend Louisiana law. And so, yes, by law, as the Attorney General, she will have to be involved with it.
What about Seabaugh and Mellerine? Are they just interested parties watching, or will they actually go before the state Supreme Court too?
No, I'm sure they will be there. In fact, I would imagine several state representatives and state senators who are attorneys will be there to witness it, to maybe send a message of solidarity. But you really do have an advantage. And I don't just mean in the local case. I mean, if you hire someone who's a state rep or state senator and they have this power to invoke and, repeatedly take legislative continuances, you really are at an advantage because your attorney can kind of control the case. In other words, and maybe everyone doesn't have the ability to hire an attorney who is a state rep or state senator. So in a way, that's kind of unfair, too, if you think about it like that.
Does Gregorio want the law completely thrown out by the state Supreme Court? Is that his goal?
I think his goal is to return discretion to judges to decide if we're going to grant a motion for a continuance. Sometimes, having practiced as long as I have, sometimes continuances are justified, and sometimes they're not justified. A party simply wants to delay some more because they think maybe they can get a more favorable situation in the court if we don't have a trial maybe this month, maybe 6 months from now. So judges have to have discretion like they do in so many other areas, really is what it comes down to.
How long do you think, Royal, that we'll have an answer to this?
I think this is a different kind of case. It's purely legal to me. It's a purely legal situation, and I think maybe in 30 days, it's an issue of great interest to people. But again, I say that, and maybe it'll drag for 6 months before we have a decision. I could see this being decided quickly.
Royal Alexander, local attorney, thank you so much for your help. We appreciate it.
Certainly, thank you.
101.7 FM, 710 KEEL, coming up after the news at the bottom of the hour. If you missed our interview with Christine Tharp, Caddo Parish School Board member, hear what she has to say about the fireworks that took place last night. 101.7 FM, 710KEEL.com.
Back with McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Okay, I tried to ask you about it earlier this morning, and you didn't want to talk about it.
Okay.
I understand.
I've already been there, done that. I'm over it. I know what you're going at.
I haven't, though.
I know, and I know you want to talk about it. Wasted good sausage balls.
Why did you make sausage balls? Seriously?
Of course I did.
You did.
And Bo is a very happy boy. Because they were flying.
Well, I was out of town, so I'm at the mercy of my brother-in-law. We're at their lake house. Oh my gosh, Aaron! First of all, let me just say, their lake house is better than my house.
Oh, that's nice. It's good to have a little dough.
Oh my gosh, lovely on the water. They have the new boat. It's
nice.
Nice. We went out in the evening, best time of the day, the end of the afternoon and the early evening.
Skeeter bait, okay.
Right. No.
Really?
No, mosquitoes were not a problem.
Okay, you left them here.
Lake Oconee in Georgia, about an hour and a half east of Atlanta. I-20 the whole way. So we're watching the game. He has a beautiful, huge TV like we've got in here.
Yeah.
Turn on LSU. Now, he was flipping back and forth between the Tigers and the Braves game.
Atlanta, yeah.
Because he's an Atlanta, Braves fan. I'm not saying anything. It's his house. It's his TV. He's
absolutely.
a Braves fan. If So, but we didn't miss anything. Certainly didn't miss anything.
It's a problem.
Aaron,
it's a discipline problem.
All the other colleges, Alabama opened with what? Western Kentucky, for crying out loud?
The Alabama Cupcake Trail. They go on that in the beginning of every season.
Every other program opens with a softball. To get there, and I understand you want the kinks worked out. It's the first game of the season. You got freshmen on the team. You got new players. You got transfers, don't know the system.
Yep.
Why? We open with ranked teams every freaking year.
Yeah. And we're 5-0 now.
And we're 0-5.
Excuse me, 0-5.
Yeah,
Thank you.
On opening night for the last 5 years.
I know.
This goes before Brian Kelly. Opening with deadgum Florida State.
Yes.
And then,
Craziness. I have a new
We haven't won since Joe Burrow was quarterback, and we won the national championship. We haven't won an opening game.
I have a new theory, a new plan for the Tigers. Centenary is starting a college football program. Their first game is Saturday. I'm excited about that. They're going to have a packed house. I think after this next season, which our schedule's already set, I get that. I think after that, the Tigers and the Gents should open the season.
Yeah.
I think it would be great for Centenary to play LSU. Think of the money they would make. They'd be happy to do it.
They're not Division I, though.
That's okay. Is Western Kentucky Division I? Maybe they are. Yeah, maybe they are. But just to be a good steward of Louisiana's programs, play Centenary. Open the season with the Gents.
Or Tech.
That'd be good too.
Grambling.
I'd be fine with
You
that.
want to do Louisiana schools?
We play Nichols this weekend. We could make that our opening game.
Yeah.
We could play McNeese. That'd be fine. I'd even be fine with Fulane if we had to.
With who?
Fulane. I don't call them Tulane. Sorry.
Why?
That's a whole long story I'm not going to explain on the radio, but it's Fulane, but because I hate them. But anyway, I'm sorry, Tulane graduates. I apologize.
How do you hate the Green Wave?
I sat through a game we lost to them one time, and it was the worst night of my life. The worst night of my life. Anyway, it's just frustrating. We got some things to clean up. Garrett Nussmeier, though, I'm a big fan.
Garrett looked great. He did. There was no first night jitters whatsoever.
300 plus yards passing.
Our offensive line kind of, we couldn't get the run game going to my satisfaction.
Nope. Defense not
Where's
stellar
our
yet.
DBs?
Yeah.
My gosh, they were slicing us up. Just that quarterback, Miller's Crossing, whatever his name was. Man.
He had a good game. He really did.
He did. They looked good.
They did look good. And it was a good team. It's a good squad. And they're now what, in the Big Ten? USC's now in the Big Ten. So
referee crew sucked.
Stop that, you whiny baby.
No, they cost us the game. Yeah. No, but I'm telling you what, if Brian Kelly doesn't get a hold of that team and get some discipline,
absolutely,
these penalties are absurd, and it wasn't all referees.
No, it was not.
Stupid receiver acting like he's aiming a rifle at his opponent's head, and
another one taking his helmet off. You don't do that. You just don't do it. Frustrating, and I don't want to talk about it anymore. I'm done. We lost. We're moving on. 12-team playoff. We're not out of the hunt.
Okay, fine.
We didn't play any cupcake to open our season.
No, well, we sure don't. Christine Tharp, Caddo Parish School Board member, spoke with us earlier this morning about the meeting that was last night. Hear what she has to say after the news, bottom of the hour, 101.7 FM, 710keel.com.
Get back to the show with Mike and McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Stick around. Coming up next, Mike and McCarty talk to Christine Tharp, Caddo Parish School Board, talking about the ongoing issues with the meeting. Stick around. Hear what she has to say next, right here on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
More breaking news and trending talk with Mike and McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
On the Jack Spring Electric Newsmaker Hotline, Caddo Parish School Board member Christine Tharp joining us this morning. Christine, I was out of town all weekend until yesterday. Sounds like I missed some fireworks.
Yeah, you did. And I was going to ask Erin, was there more drama at the Caddo Parish School Board meeting or on the Bachelorette?
You won. The school board won. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. But I'm glad I watched the school board meeting. The Bachelorette, I wish I could take those 2 hours back in my life. But y'all went 3 hours better, maybe closer to 4. I'm not sure how long it ended up being. Dozens and dozens of people spoke, talking a lot about the process for hiring a superintendent. Explain that. What was the process supposed to be, and have you deviated from it?
Okay. the process has not been deviated from. And let me start by saying, too, that, we have an attorney that guides us, that makes more than anybody in Caddo Parish School Board. We pay him very well. So if anything were to go awry, he would put us back in our place very quickly. But the process was the board voted to hire a search firm. That was done. The search firm put out a national search. And then they met with the community. They gathered information from community, anybody that wanted to attend the meetings, on what they were looking for in a superintendent. All of those attributes were written down, combined. They were given to the board. They were used in the selection of the finalists for the superintendent. That was the community input. Now, these meetings are held in a community, in a public forum. Mm-hmm. But so that was done. The search firm narrowed it down to 6 candidates. 5 of those candidates were not local. 1 was local. We did not know who the 6 candidates were prior. Now, this search firm has conducted the past 2 superintendent searches where they hired Dr. Dawkins and Dr. Gorey. So this is the 3rd time we have used them.
Did you had you promised that you would interview 3, 2, 4? Was there any?
No, there was never a promise to that. We listened to the taped interviews or taped speeches that each candidate made. We received their resumes. We received their letters of recommendation. So we had all that information. There was nothing saying we would take the top 3, the top 2, nothing. And so after that was done and we listened, the board ranked our top, who we wanted to list as our top candidate.
And y'all did that ranking privately. You didn't do that. Well, let me see what you're putting. Everybody graded them on their own.
Right. We ranked them privately. 8 school board members ranked Keith Burton as their top choice. 8 out of 12.
You said you didn't know who the candidates were. At what point did you know the final 6 candidates?
Whenever that was released to the public. I think it was Monday night before the meeting, Monday sometime. I'd have to go back in my email and look. Nothing was given to us prior. Nothing.
Did you know any local candidates who were not included in that? Do you know any of them now?
I don't know any of them. I went through this process and I committed to the process. Just because now people don't like the outcome of a process doesn't mean you can claim the process was flawed now because you don't like the outcome. That's not the way this works. The school board members are elected by our constituents, and one of our jobs, we don't have many, despite what people think, one of our jobs is to hire a superintendent. That is our job. Now, the people who were there last night, that was a very small percent of the people that make up this parish. Because I tell you, the information I get from other people and people that live around this city, district, in my district, teachers, parents are thrilled with Keith Burton. Mm-hmm. So that is just those people last night are a very, very small percentage of people.
Let me ask you this. Dr. Vinson has told members of the media, there have been a couple of others, that we could go back and have another meeting and ask for others to be interviewed. Do you think there's any chance that's going to happen?
I really have no idea. The board did not take any action last night. None. And we interviewed Keith Burton on September 11th.
And there's no move to have a special meeting to take another look at this?
No, I've not received any word of a special meeting, anything like that. Nothing that I've heard of.
So what could happen on September 11th? You interview Keith Burton. After the end of that interview, which is going to be done in public, could there be a motion made to begin contract negotiations with Keith Burton at that September 11th meeting? Could that happen?
Yes, it could.
Do you anticipate that will happen?
I don't know. We'll have to go through the interview and see.
If he meets the criteria for you in that interview, you're the one who made the motion to interview only him. Would you be inclined to make a motion to move forward with contract negotiations with him?
Yes. If Keith Burton, if we interview him and he, is clearly what we thought he is, then yes, I would be willing to make that motion.
To say that the people that showed up at the meeting yesterday was a small group of people, you're getting in your email and your communications, you're getting when you say a large number of people from what communities that do support Keith Burton and the hiring of Keith Burton. Can you balance it out for us?
Well, I'm just like I said, the emails I get, I mean, are you asking where they're from? Or, I mean, they're local people, they're teachers and parents and retired teachers. That's who I'm getting communication from in support of him.
Is this a black-white issue? This
is what it's going to come down to in my...
I really don't think so. I honestly don't. I hope not. It is not for me. Not for me. I never, that is so far from who I am and what I want to be, that couldn't be further from anything I feel. So for me, it definitely is not.
But you can't ponder on what ifs. But I can't help but believe if any of the other 6 candidates were selected in this manner, we wouldn't be going through this problem.
I can't speak to that because we are where we are. And like I said, he came out clearly in the lead. 8 board members agreed with having him as our superintendent. I mean, as the lead candidate. He scored the highest. I mean, I don't know how else to put it. I mean,
Let me ask you this with regard to that. For you, what sets Keith Burton apart? If you had to pinpoint 1 or 2 things, what puts him at the top of your list?
The top of my list is his experience in Caddo Parish. He was a teacher, a principal. I know how he was as a principal. I know how highly regarded he was. He's done the work. He's been the chief academic officer. He had 13 letters of recommendation from all walks of life in our community. I mean,
well, Christine,
people in our community.
What do you say to those who have reached out to us to say, well, yeah, he's had experience, but our schools are failing. The state is trying to take over schools, and he's been there this whole time. He's part of the problem. What do you say to those people?
Well, I say that he wasn't in the leader at that time. I think he has a plan that he's going to put in place. That's what I believe. I believe he is the best choice that we have out of those candidates presented.
What time is the meeting on the 11th, and will the public be able to speak during that meeting, or is this just an interview of Keith Burton?
This is the interview. It's held in the public. The public is invited. I believe it's at 4:30.
Okay.
I don't have that information in front of me, but I think it's. But no, I'm sorry. No, it is not, Aaron. The interview started at 8:30 a.m. that day. It's an all day. We blocked out the whole day for this. Yeah.
Okay. So will the public get a chance to question him at all?
And I'm not sure. We're interviewing him, and we were told that it's very strict as far as HR, what questions could be asked. We have to follow HR guidelines. So that's what we were told.
I wouldn't think at this point in the process the public would be allowed to speak or ask him questions. Yeah. Mm-hmm. They don't have any input in this election.
Right. This is a board decision. That's what we're elected to do, is to hire a superintendent. The superintendent is not hired by the public.
I would think if
and
the
like I
public
said,
had input, they should reach out to their school board members before
Right.
this interview and voice those opinions at that time.
that is the way, this works. That's why we're elected.
They're
That's what you need to-
exactly. You're representing your constituents.
Is any part of this like a reception with Keith Burton? I mean, I know in the past we've done receptions with the candidates and that kind of
Right.
thing.
I haven't been told of any reception. I don't know if there anything like that. All I know is the interviews start 8:30 on September 11th.
Christine Tharp, Caddo School Board member. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thanks, Christine. Mike and McCarty, 1017 FM, 710keel.com.
Stories of the day with Mike and McCarty on 1017 FM and 710 KEEL.
All right, I was gone all
Yes.
weekend. Apparently, I missed a lot of excitement on the school board meeting, but
Oh, man.
I didn't get a chance. We didn't talk to you at all, and maybe you guys covered this yesterday because I did. I took yesterday off. 11-hour drive.
Oh, yeah. No,
I didn't know what time
Don't blame you.
I didn't know what time. We actually got home on Monday, but I didn't know what time we were going to get home, and so I'm like, I'm not getting up at 4 a.m.
Oh, no, I'm a huge advocate of the buffer day.
Oh my
for
gosh.
vacations.
And I told my wife last night. We started that Beckham documentary the other night, and last night I was like, okay, I feel like the post-COVID fatigue. That's how I was feeling yesterday, and I thought, oh crap.
It takes a lot out of you.
It's like, okay, hopefully this is because I drove in the car for 11 hours.
Right. Right.
And we're like, we're not hurrying. We're not, if we have 4 people in the car and if we need to stop, we're going to stop.
Absolutely.
Not going to try to, and I'm not worried about passing people. And it was actually not bad. But did you guys play over the weekend? Did you have a big Labor Day weekend gig?
We did not. We our next show is in October. We're taking a break. There's 6 people in my band. They all have lives, outside of the band. So it's kind of hard to wrangle.
That's a huge band.
It's we don't want to make any money. Is our thing. We don't want to make any money after we pay everybody out. But no, we've got our 2 big end of the year shows are the Halloween party at Bears and our official Opossum Where Art Thou Christmas party at Tiki Bar.
Okay,
in December. So we're gearing up for that and getting ready to release some new stuff.
Well, keep us posted.
Absolutely.
1017 FM 710 KEEL, Mike and McCarty.